Good evening, and welcome to Curiosities of the Animal Kingdom. I am your host, Marvin Gardens. Our subjects this evening are best known for their unique ability to enter prolonged states of suspended animation in order to digest highly toxic substances. While other species have been decimated by poisoned air, land, and water, these animals have shown a remarkable capacity for adaptation. They have continued to survive and even thrive in an ecologically ravaged environment. Tonight, we shall attempt to separate the facts from the myths that surround this curious group of animals known collectively as Launus ornamenti. Origins of the species can be traced directly to Hong Kong, Japan, and Mexico. At this time, however, scientists can only speculate about the exact migration routes the animals follow into this country. It is known that they gravitate to suburban areas of large industrial cities, particularly in the Midwest. There, they make their homes in and around the shrubbery and lawns of residential dwellings, forging an uneasy coexistence with man. To bring you this evening's presentation, our camera crew traveled to the outskirts of Detroit, Michigan to visit the James Watt Suburban Game and Wildlife Preserve. The Watt Preserve reportedly contains the largest and most varied population of Launus ornamenti in the continental United States. Security was tight at the main gate. The authorities have taken every precaution to prevent environmentalists, rock musicians, and other wrong elements from entering the park. Game Warden Charles Dioxon informed us that our arrival coincided with the annual spring mating season. Activity among the animals would be at an especially high level. We hadn't traveled far before he was proven correct. Partially concealed in the brush, these lawn deer furtively finished the mating act. Before a successful coupling occurs, the deer perform a long and intricate mating ritual. Essentially, it amounts to 3 hours of pleading on the part of the male. When the act finally commences, it is over in a matter of seconds, whereupon the male immediately falls into a deep and well-deserved sleep. It was once believed that lawn deer led solitary nomadic lives, seeking others only to reproduce. New evidence, however, suggests that they mate for life, remaining in cohesive family units until their young reach maturity. Once the young become self-sufficient, the aging adults begin their final migration to the vast condominium developments of the Sun Belt, particularly in Florida and Arizona. The mature offspring remain to continue the ongoing cycle. In order to check uncontrolled population growth, authorities open the preserve in the spring and the fall to hunters. Hunting guides assist in the sighting and selection of game. Both the park authorities and these so-called sportsmen claim that this type of population management mercifully spares animals from the cruelty of starvation when food becomes scarce. The argument tends to be one-sided, however, since most animals lack the ability to make their point of view known. During our stay at the Watt Preserve, we frequently observed pairs of porch lions staked out near doorways to await the birth of their young. The lion population is said to contain the greatest variation within a species. This variation is not limited to only physical characteristics or coloring. The effeminate posture of these males suggests they have forsaken traditional mates, opting instead for alternative lifestyles. Constant exposure to industrial contaminants and acid rain has had a profound effect on marine life. To ensure survival, the process of evolution has been accelerated, transforming the aquatic population into land dwellers. Adaptation comes easily for most species, yet some still retain an affinity for the sea, remaining as near to it as possible. Because of its proximity to the water, the preserve attracts an abundance of waterfowl. A multitude of species make their home here. For most of these animals, food consists primarily of tender petals from perpetual flowers and occasional handouts from visitors. Because of frequent contact with humans, many animals appear to be tame. These porch lion cubs frolic playfully while totally oblivious to the observers below. But outward appearances can be deceiving. There have been isolated incidents of attacks against humans, and caution should be taken at all times within the preserve. Scattered throughout the Watt Preserve are remnants of an ancient culture that once flourished in the area. What little is known about this civilization comes from archaeological digs, such as the one you see here. This particular dig has proven to be an invaluable link with the past. All of the animal specimens found here remain preserved in perfect condition. Their age is estimated at 10,000 years, yet there is virtually no sign of decay. This discovery raises many questions. Why was there such a large concentration of animals in this area? And what exactly is responsible for their highly unusual condition? Noted archaeologist Dr. Livingston County explains.
Based on the conditions of these animal specimens, we initially assumed that this area at one time was covered by a vast tar pit, similar to the ones found in California. I'm sure you've heard the explanation on how animals, mistaking these tar pits for water holes, came to drink and then they became hopelessly stuck. However, soil samples taken from the dig have revealed an unusually high concentration of chemical preservatives such as BHA, BHT, and calcium propionate. Our theory is that this area was used as a liquid disposal site for some prehistoric food processing plant. When the animals came to drink, they ingested these chemicals, died, and remain preserved to this day. Based on available data, we estimate that they have a shelf life of approximately 35,000 years.
35,000 years. A legacy for future generations. How different will the animal kingdom of the future be? In what direction will life evolve? Already, mutations in the gene pool are occurring at a phenomenal rate. This burrow was born with no ears. Is it simply an isolated incident, or perhaps a permanent adaptation to an increasingly noisy world? And note how the burrow is dwarfed by this oversized bullfrog. Will radiation leaks trigger the dawn of a new age of giant reptiles? Imagine the traffic problems that would arise. Or will life simply continue unchanged along its present course? Only the passage of time will reveal the answers to these questions. As abundant as the wildlife appears inside the James Watt Suburban Game and Wildlife Preserve, there still exists the threat of extinction. 1973 saw a marked decline in the population that coincided with the Arab oil embargo. For some yet-to-be-explained reason, the birth rate for many animals is closely tied to the price of petroleum products. This downward spiral has been accelerated lately due to decreases in new housing starts, which are vital to territorial expansion. Add to that a growing sophistication on the part of the American public, and the situation becomes critical. Some experts predict that the entire Lonus ornamenti population faces extinction by the middle of this decade. Therefore, in the spirit of conservation and preservation, we have formed the Committee for Animal Self-Help. The committee intends to teach survival techniques to these animals in the hope that they can become self-sufficient. We don't normally make a practice of soliciting funds on curiosities of the animal kingdom, but we feel that this urgent situation warrants an exception. Won't you please make a generous donation to the Committee for Animal Self-Help? Make your check payable to CASH and send it to me in care of this station. Your donation could make the difference between survival and extinction. And remember, extinct is forever. I am Marvin Gardens. Thank you, and good night.